Thanks very much for staying with us. Time now for Eye on Africa with me, Georgia Calvin-Smith. Tonight, a suspected serial killer in Rwanda's capital is arrested. Over 10 bodies were reportedly found in his home, many reportedly sex workers who'd been stalked and targeted in a deliberate campaign to emulate notorious murderers. Also, a delegation of citizens from the northern Malian city of Timbuktu heads out to the capital, Bamako, to petition for more support from the government for their ancient community. It suffered through weeks of an extremist blockade. And Kigali invites celebrities and bigwigs from around the world to join in a baby gorilla birthday party. Every year, the youngest of the protected apes are thrown a bash that Rwanda hopes can also serve as effective PR. But first, Rwandan authorities made a gruesome discovery this week in the house of an alleged serial killer. The remains of at least 10 victims who'd gone missing were found in a hole in a kitchen. The crime has shocked a country with a historically low overall murder rate. Clément de Roma reports.
The Rwandan Investigation Bureau announced the arrest of Denis Kazungu, a 34-year-old man suspected of killing at least 10 people in Kigali's eastern suburbs. Investigators discovered a pit containing several bodies inside his kitchen after he was arrested on Tuesday and officers searched his home. The precise number of presumed victims will only be determined following further scientific analysis. According to police sources and local media, the victims were mostly sex workers whom the suspect lured back to his home. A source in the Rwandan Investigation Bureau has reportedly said that that the suspect may have emulated infamous serial killers. Victims were apparently stalked and may have been chosen because they had few social connections. Kazungu had previously been arrested in July on charges of robbery and rape, but was subsequently released due to insufficient evidence. But investigations continued and he was rearrested this week, leading to the gruesome discovery. He is said to have confessed to the murders. However, as of now, neither the prosecutor nor the authorities have officially announced specific charges.
Clément de Roma there for us. Now, Gabon's Junta has said that ousted President Ali Bongo is now free and can travel abroad for medical treatment. Bongo's been under house arrest since he was toppled from power on August 30th, just hours after being declared the winner of a disputed election that would have extended his family's 55-year political reign on the country. Bongo's release came as the military powers behind the takeover announced a new transitional prime minister. Raymond Ndong Sima is an economist and prominent opposition figure who was critical of Ali Bongo. I'm now joined by Frank Jocten, a Gabonese political activist. Frank, thanks for speaking to me. But first of all, what can you tell us about Raymond Sima?
It's a good choice because very early he decided to join forces with the new men in power in Gabon. And he wanted to do the things according to the law. The president has said that the election was cancelled. So he accepted the fact that the election was cancelled. So I'm not surprised. He's a man who abides in the rule of law. And I know that he will help Gabon heal.
Well, you sound like you're a big fan. Now, he's a former prime minister himself. We currently have Military Chief General Brice Ingema, who is the president since Bongo's toppling. But it was Albert Osso who ran against Bongo in the elections that preceded the takeover. So what does Sima's appointment mean for Osso's position in the Alternance 2023 opposition party? Couldn't this cause divisions there?
Now, you have to understand that during the election, they all went their separate ways. Each candidate wanted to be president of Gabon, but they were confronted by something in the ground, is that they knew that they couldn't win an election if they go their separate way. So they made a decision to come together and to create a group where only one person will represent the opposition in order to defeat Ali Bongo. And they did succeed to do that. So I think that the fact that now he's been chosen to be the prime minister, I think everybody needs to do the same thing as they did before the election, unite towards him so we can help him achieve what we want to see in this country. The Gabonese people are thirsty of democracy. They are thirsty of the rule of law. And I believe that Raymond Dongsima, being a civilian in the midst of the military, can bring this change about for all of the Gabonese people.
Thanks very much, Eddie Frank Joktain, the Gabonese political activist, giving his take on the appointment of a new prime minister, a transitional prime minister in the country. Now, the coup in Gabon was the latest in about 7 coups that the continent's seen over the last 3 years or so. About a month before, on July 26, Niger's military announced the overthrow of President Mohamed Bazoum. Regional bloc ECOWAS has gone as far to threaten the use of force to reinstate him, and it's brought in a wave of sanctions against Niamey. The effects are destabilising communities on both sides of its border. And our correspondents report from Katsina State in Nigeria, where most people have family across the frontier in Niger.
Nana Barira no longer sleeps. Ever since ECOWAS imposed sanctions against Niger Junta, this fuel-safe woman no longer dares to cross the nearby border with her jerry cans. For her, the prospect of a military intervention in Niger is a nightmare because she's Nigerian on her father's side, while her mother hails from Niamey. She cannot choose sides.
Honestly, I'm praying he doesn't agree, because if we go to war, we will be affected, because Niger and Nigeria is one. Honestly, we are doing a lot of business with them and have good relations, more than you can imagine. There's nothing like disunity.
Less than 500 meters away from Magama Jibia checkpoint, Kamala Ismaili runs this sweet drink shop. He too is completely devastated. This wholesaler sold an average of 500 packs a day. Today, he barely sells 10. His main customers are retailers from the neighboring villages in Niger who have been banned from trading since the political crisis.
Sometimes when I think about this situation, I cry. I cry because when I think about how things were before compared to now, I just have to cry.
In this residential area of Jibia, Buhari no longer uses his small motorbike during the week. Since the coup in Niamey, this Nigerian can no longer go to work in Maradi in Niger, less than 50 kilometers from his home, where he is an accountant at a university. He is on forced holiday.
Now the border is closed, so when you wake up at 6 in the morning, you won't go anywhere. You just sit at home, sleep, wake up, and repeat that. There is no business or work. So you would definitely end up having depressive thoughts running through your mind.
In Magama Jibia, life is suspended, and here, people follow with fear the diplomatic ballet between ECOWAS and the Niamey pushists.
Well, people in the northern Malian city of Timbuktu are struggling with skyrocketing prices after weeks of being stuck under siege by al-Qaeda-linked extremists. Faced with the economic and physical threat, a delegation from the city headed to Bamako to petition for more support from the central government. Our team reports.
Stations closed due to lack of gasoline. Residents forced to obtain supplies on the black market at exorbitant prices. The cost of potatoes has increased threefold, and that of onions has gone up by 500% over the last 1 month. All these consequences of a jihadist blockade on Timbuktu that began around mid-August. The city has also been attacked several times since then, and around 30,000 residents have fled.
There is no rice nor millet coming into Timbuktu, nothing. A litre of petrol costs 2,000 CFA francs here. It has become almost impossible to find. And sugar. When you see people with sugar, it is because their parents were able to send it from Bamako by plane.
Influential citizens of Timbuktu have traveled to the Malian capital of Bamako to put pressure on authorities to do more to help their besieged city. The situation has grown increasingly desperate as crucial highways to Algeria and Mauritania remain blocked.
For more than 15 days, no trucks have entered the city, which used to receive an average of 10 trucks a day. The holding of stocks and the rise in prices have caused residents to suffer inflation never experienced before.
The crisis comes as militant attacks across the country mount, and as the UN peacekeeping mission withdraws from Mali at the request of the ruling junta.
And finally, every September, Kigali celebrates the latest mountain gorilla births. It was a star-studded event this year, with Rwanda extending invitations to celebrities who were asked to not only bestow names upon the baby apes, but also to champion a country that's faced recurring criticism from NGOs and the UN recently. Our team sent this report.
They are some of Rwanda's greatest treasures. 23 baby mountain gorillas have been born in the volcano's park since last September. Every year the country holds a ceremony for the newborn apes at the foot of the Virunga Mountains. Movie stars, business leaders and diplomats from all over the world have gathered, excited at having been given the privilege of naming the infant animals.
All your friends in the United Kingdom want to salute the government of Rwanda for the so many brilliant things which are being done in this great country.
The presence of the British minister reflects the UK's deepening diplomatic ties with Rwanda, where Westminster is hoping to send thousands of asylum seekers. For Kigali, the naming ceremony is an opportunity to present itself in a favourable light. The modern tradition began in 2005 and is an effective means of self-promotion.
The economy is connected to conservation and to tourism. And it's thanks to what we have done, including this beautiful ceremony. It's very, very important to make this ceremony international. We are calling all international visitors to come to Rwanda to visit the mountain gorillas.
In 2022, over 100,000 tourists visited the country's natural parks. Across Uganda, Rwanda and DR Congo, there are at least 600 gorillas distributed throughout the region.
When the alpha one moves, even wherever they are, they come and follow him.
Several armed groups operate around North Kivu in DRC, and it's been mired in a security crisis since March 2022. Instability that undermines efforts to protect the great apes.
For instance, for the wildlife, there is no borders. The security situation is one more difficulty for the preservation of the wildlife. So, of course, every effort has to be put into the betterment of the security situation.
Kigali has been accused by the United Nations of supporting the M23, the primary armed group behind the Congolese conflict. Rwanda has always denied these allegations.
Well, that's it for Eye on Africa. Thanks for joining us. Do so again. Till then, take care.